Hey everybody. First of all, I'm sick, so please excuse me if sound a little stuffy to everybody. But I wanted to get this vlog in. So this week we're talking about kind of a couple things, but basically is why is making these changes in our lives so hard? So if you want to build muscle or if you want to lose weight, it is hard. It's a lifelong change that you want to make. And that's where some people kind of have a lot of struggle, is because they want to make this change and lose 40 pounds in 4 months. And then they want to go back to the way that they were eating prior or stop working out at the gym. And that's not going to happen. You're going to gain the weight all back. Now you may gain it back in a slower fashion, but you're going to end up gaining it. So when we say try and make this a lifelong change, and that's why we say make a little changes at a time, is so that it is something that is going to stay with you forever, so that you can keep doing everything that keep what you've accomplished so far. So it's hard to do both things. And so that's why you need to really plan out your goals. So for example, with my own journey, I needed to lose weight first. Building muscle at 240 pounds was not really going to do me any good, right? For me, I needed to get my body fat percentage down, and I needed to lose weight. So that's how you can kind of take your goals first, is you can look at where you're at and you can assess where your goals are and then what you need to do to take you there. So working with somebody like Gabe is really good, because you can tell him, okay, hey, I want to look like a bikini competitor. So then he can assess where you are now and take you through those different stages, so that you can get and do the things that you need to do. Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause. My kiddo came in. So as I was saying, then Gabe can kind of take you down that path. So for example, we did weight loss for a long time. So those were set calories, set macros that I worked on. We still weight trained, but then I also did more cardio at that point too. So now, since I've lost the amount of weight that I wanted to be at, I'm kind of at a point where I need to start building muscle and leaning out more. We'll change to do various things. We'll do carb cycling, microcycles. We'll do glycemic index microcycles, where I track kind of what's different on the glycemic index. So there's just different things that you need for when you're losing weight compared to when you're building muscle. So when you're losing weight, remember, you're eating in a calorie deficit, which means you are eating less calories than what you're taking in. Whereas what you're doing with your muscle building is you have to eat more in order to use that. Now, the thing that you don't want to do, and some people do like dirty bulks, where they kind of just eat whatever they want, and then they turn it into, or they say they're going to turn it into muscle. You just got to be careful that you don't gain so much weight. I mean, you don't want to gain 30 pounds of fat, because the probability of that changing into 30 pounds of muscle is going to be pretty low. Now, I don't have the science behind these muscle buildings, hence why I use Gabe, because he has all that down, down pat. But basically, that's kind of how I've seen it from my point of view, and how I train my clients is we just assess our goals and see where we're at. And partway down through, you may say, hey, I don't want to look like a bikini competitor. I want to look like a bodybuilder, or I want to do CrossFit. So those are going to be different types of eating styles and activity levels. Because if you're really doing a lot of activity, then you need to, of course, eat a little bit more. Once again, one of the reasons why having a coach is really easy, because they kind of take the guesswork out for you, which is nice. Let's see, building the booty. That is, it's a really hard question to come across. I mean, basically, I've been able to read a lot about it just in my training books. And then, of course, I've looked at, the Butt Bible by Pauline Nordine, which she's known for. I've kind of tracked Nicole Wilkins and Amanda Laytona and all their different booty strategies. And what it comes down to is hard, heavy training. And so what I've seen sometimes happen, I know Pauline Nordine, I was just going over the Butt Bible a few days ago, is they'll train legs or lower body 3 times a week. So really you just have to decide what your focus is. You don't want to not train your upper body. So you're not going to be able to train lower body 3 days a week. You can train upper body twice a week. But remember, if you're only training upper body twice a week, then you're not going to be able to get the specific cuts where you need them. So yeah, you'll be able to do maybe 1 or 2 exercises for shoulders, 1 or 2 exercises for arms, 1 or 2 for back, and then some abs, right? Whereas if you do it like the beast workouts are spread out, you're doing a whole day of arms, a whole day of shoulders. So you're going to see a lot more change happening when you hit those specific body parts like that. So really assessing your goals again. If your main goal is to really build your lower half and you don't really care too much about working on the upper body, you could switch doing 2 or 3 days a week lower body. You got to make sure you're eating properly too, because lower body workouts are usually pretty big workouts. They're using like compound movements, squats and deadlifts and stuff like that are using multiple body parts. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just what your preference is. The one thing I can say about tracking it is progress pictures. And I'm talking progress pictures in your panties. You have your husband or a significant other take your picture in your underwear, and you track that over a few months and you'll be able to see the change. Probably much better than, the scale's not going to tell you anything if you've gained on your butt or not, right? So it's really going to be the progress pictures, maybe measurements. If you come down low enough, you can kind of measure them. But really progress pictures, the way your clothes fit, those are going to be the things that are really going to tell you if you're building up that area enough. Remember, when you're building your butt, you're not going to get that kind of what we call bubble butt, right? You're making sure that the gluteus minimus and maximus are getting lifted. So you're going to have kind of a rounder or a kind of higher up appearance, but it's not going to be like the bubble butt. In order to get that, you need to put fat in there, and you're not going to do that unless you see a doctor, because you can't just spot reduce fat there either. So those are some things. Changing up your workouts are some other things I can recommend doing. Of course you want to do squats and deadlifts, but making sure you're doing like the glute kickbacks and making sure you're doing glute thrusts, and changing it from heavy weight one day to maybe lighter weight and a bunch of reps the next time. Those are basically some things you can try doing. But genetics and time is really what's going to make it happen. There's just some women that have that natural butt that's kind of lifted higher and looks fantastic. And there's other people that really have to work at it. And so, Amanda Laytona, if you go and follow her, she's known as the booty queen, right? I think she trains glutes like 3 or 4 days a week, and she eats properly for it, and she trains really heavy and really hard, and it takes a lot to do. It's not something where you can just train them once a week and you're going to see a change immediately. It takes years for these women to build up like that. So those are the things I can recommend doing. Remember, it's a lot harder, I think, in our heads than it actually is to do it. I know I always question myself as to why is this, it shouldn't be this easy. Eating this amount and working out, it shouldn't be this easy. It seems like it should be a lot harder. But that's because in our minds, we try and make it a lot crazier than it needs to be. So just remember that we're all here for you to support you and walk you through this. And it's definitely something you want to make as a lifestyle change, so that you can just be proud of all the hard work that you're putting in. So hope that answered everybody's questions. Of course, leave any questions if you have any, and we'll talk to you guys soon.